right, so I want to pass the question around to the panel. Why men date single mothers? In your opinion, I'll start with Anthony. Why do you think that guys date single mothers?
In the words of the great Richard Cooper, I believe that single moms are the best fuck demons.
Yeah. Look at that.
Just putting it out hardcore, putting it out blunt, man, putting it out straight shooter.
No chaser.
Let's just clarify. I never said that.
It was a different Richard. It was another friend.
He wants to have said it.
Yeah.
Well, it is true, because there's an incentive to want to have sex with single mothers because they have an incentive to want to get with you.
That's right.
Tom Likas calls this the loss leader. Okay, meaning that it's like sort of bait and switch. Like the woman is really hot and really into you, and you're the honeymoon period of between a month to 3 months, and she's just giving you the hottest sex that you can possibly get, and then it's like, where is this going? Where are you gonna be a man? Are you gonna man up and take care of me? And it's like, so guys get drawn into
Junior
the
to
sex.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up too, because that is a key reason why guys get involved, because they think, the sex is really good, but I also want to be noble and chivalrous.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Chuck E. Cheese was the reason. I'm like, what? That's not that
I
good.
thought I was going to get a more serious answer out of Anthony, but I'm going to go ahead and state why I think that's guys.
Speaking from personal experience there too, so it's a very personal response.
Yeah. Well,
you're coming through, you're
speaking from like the sub 30-year-old man. You're what, 29, 30 now? Yeah. So
I'll be 30.
You're a younger guy, and there's every guy in this panel that's had some experience on this. So I'll speak for myself before I pass it off to Carl. When I got divorced, so I had the sense and wits about me before I got married when I was childless not to date single mommies. I would always just skip them. It was always a flat pass, no thank you. After I got divorced and I had a child, I think my daughter was around 4 at the time, I figured, okay, this is what guys are supposed to do, because I was a plugged in blue pill beta, and I figured I'll go try this new arena out of dating post-divorce with a child. And that wasn't true. There's a lot of other things that kind of play into that, like great makeup, the post-divorce boobs that most women get when they get divorced, spanks, there's a lot of things that can distract guys from the truth and reality of what they're getting into. But I think it's just like beta thirst, and they think that it's easy. I know that I did anyway, but I want to pass it over to Carl to see if you got any further thoughts on that.
Well, I think it's desperation, which we already touched on. Most guys are just happy that they found a woman who'll fuck them. That's one thing. And I think for a lot of guys, too, especially the plugged-in guys, if she manages to introduce them to the kids, then he might develop some kind of protector instinct over the kids. Like, okay, their mother is crazy, obviously, but, these poor kids are suffering. I'm going to try and take care of them and, help them. And it becomes much easier to get out of that if you're being guilt-tripped by the woman, by the kids, and by society in general. And my thinking on it is just that dating a single mother, you sleep with them all you want, but actually dating them, it's one thing to, if your girl steps out on you and she gets pregnant by another guy and you accidentally end up raising someone else's kids, but to volunteer for your own cucking is a bit overkill in my book.
Yeah. Can you actually give us a definition of what cucking is, just for those of us out there that are watching that are unfamiliar with the term?
Yeah, a lot of guys seem to be about that.
The term comes from biology, actually, where there are some birds that lay their eggs in other birds' nests, and then the other birds end up raising the kids as a different species of bird. But I looked up some stats for this. I have another screen here that's full of stats, and I looked at something here. Raising a child costs about $235,000, not including college.
Wow.
Actually, let's just hold off on the stats, because I want to switch over to the stats after we get the panel's feedback on why they think men date single moms. So I'm going to pass it over to Donovan. Donovan, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, the first thing I want to do is I want to define. A lot of people call them single moms. I call them single mothers, and the reason I say this is that I think we all need to understand that there is a stark difference between a mother and a mom. A mother is simply a female who gives birth to a baby. A mom is a woman who gives birth, then puts the needs of her child before hers and raises the kid properly to the best of her ability. Mothers generally take the easy way out and are selfish. Moms, on the other hand, they do what's necessary no matter how difficult in any and all situations. And most of the time, they don't have a selfish bone in their body when it comes to their kids. So really, simply put, mothers are bad moms and moms are good moms. Now, the birth certificate, you know, it says mother and father, meaning the biological mother and father. So when people say the word mother, like when they say single mother, what gets lost in translation is the biological connotation of the word. We automatically assume that if a woman is a mother, she must be a mom. Now, some people might say, well, Donovan, there's no difference between a mother and a mom. They're the same things. And you guys would be dead fucking wrong. Like, open your fucking ears and open your eyes, man. It's easy to become a mother, guys. Just let a guy fuck you without a condom, shoot his load in you, and if you happen to be fertile and ovulating, you get pregnant. Voila, you are a mother. The real work begins after you have the kid, and that's what separates mothers from moms. So with regards to, I agree with Carl. Fuck single mothers all you want to. They are extremely easy targets. But where guys get tripped up is, just like you said, is when the world tells them that they're going to be some kid's hero. But the first time that kid tells you, you can't tell me anything, you're not my daddy, or my dad is going to come kick your ass, or some old crazy shit like that. And the father will absolutely come kick your ass, because what makes a man a good father does not necessarily make him a good dad. A la alpha fucks beta bucks. You find yourself in a fucked up situation. And here's a game tip. I think I talked about this a little bit earlier in a Red Man group. If she introduces you to her kids, if a single mother introduces you to her kids, you are beta bucks in waiting. Mm-hmm. If she does not introduce you to her kids, you are alpha fucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Right, I'm going to pass it off to you. You have something to contribute on that topic?
Yeah, I'm kind of from a unique perspective here, because my time in the Navy, I found girls join for 3 reasons: to get a man, to get away from a man, or it's because it's what my dad did. So you kind of have like a single mom corral there of like a good third. Jesus. Bear with me, I don't have a spreadsheet like Carl, so I can't vouch for these numbers. And in my experience, the guys I've worked with and the guys that I've known, there tend to be 3 reasons guys date single moms. The first one is the girl will hide it from you. Like Don was saying, you're the alpha fucks. And then once she thinks that she has you, then she kind of drops it on you with, by the way. It's kind of like was it Mott and Bailey, bait and switch? I think Mott and Bailey's the one you use for that.
Yeah.
The second one is, like you're saying, the guy doesn't have options. So, and it reminds me of when, Rolo, when you mentioned that when a girl masturbates, it signals sexual availability. Mm-hmm. Well, in this case, having a fuck trophy means, okay, that girl will have sex, and I just lost a good chunk of my competition. So it gives you hope, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then the third one is usually the guy will have kids of his own, and he treats it as a wash. So like, you watch my kids, I'll watch yours. It's like a wife swapping, but
like
parenting.
A blended family thing,
yeah. Too much Brady Bunch growing up's rotting the brain.
Yeah.
Those are the big ones I find anyway.
All right, Rolo.
Well, I was just going to say that, and I already got into this a bit before. I think there's at least 2 reasons why guys do this. The first one is that they believe that it is their duty. It's their only way to, and this is really a point I wanted to make about sort of the, evangelical Christians, is that there is a strong push to what Dalrock calls man up and marry those sluts. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. That's his words, not my words. But the thing is like what we say about men, like we were just talking about this not too long ago, how there needs to be a ritual of manhood, how men need to reclaim their manhood, or they need to at least have some point of demarcation that makes them men. Because if we don't, a feminine primary social order is going to decide when you are a man and when you aren't. And what is that going to be? Your designation of being a man is going to be when you complete and consolidate women's hypergamy, when you are fulfilling her life's mission, which is, of course, to have kids and settle down. And if that woman has already had those kids and she finds herself in her epiphany phase, to find a good, steady beta guy who is ready to just sort of forgive her youthful indiscretions, that guy is going to be like, water in the desert for those women, because once a woman has those kids, she understands that those kids are going to be a drag on her future capacity to consolidate on hypergamy. If you look at Casey Anthony, for instance, and I know she's psychotic, I know she's crazy. If anybody knows who Casey Anthony is, Anthony is the chick who went and killed her kid, and because she wanted to keep going and partying and everything, and I can't believe she got off, but it's because the stupid attorneys couldn't make the case. But anyways, what I was thinking when I was watching this case happen, I was like, why would a woman want to do that? Why would she kill her kids? Well, because she knows that that kid is going to be a drag on her capacity to in the future to ensure her hypergamy, to consolidate on that, to optimize that. And so that's also one of the reasons why I say that abortion is the ultimate expression of hypergamy,
Right.
because nothing says he's was the wrong guy like the uncontested capacity to abort his kid in utero. Okay. And that's one of the reasons I think that women hang on to that and fight tooth and nail for abortion, is because they want to be able to decide in the future whether or not they're going to be saddled with kids or they're not. And I honestly, I think it's an existential fear of women who, you know, to be forced into a situation where they've got to invest themselves in a kid that was not their hypergamous optimal situation. So guys, throw guys into this situation now. Well, if you got a guy, we know that most guys are, you know, 80% of men are betas. Okay. And they're blue pill. And they're what I call betas in waiting. So they go through this drought of sex, or maybe they're just sort of getting drip fed sex through all their 20s while they see these girls just having their fun in their party years, and let's go to spring break in Lake Havasu and, you know, all this other shit. And then finally they get to be about 29 to 31 years old. And now this woman is playing into this narrative of, I'm going to do things right. I'm going to get right with God. I'm done with those bad boys now. I've learned my lesson. And now, oh my gosh, you actually are the perfect guy I've been waiting for my entire life. Let's get married. And here are my 2 kids. Let me introduce you to my 2 children. And that guy gets wrapped up in that narrative because he's self-righteous enough to believe it. Okay. He's self-righteous enough to say, because he's been taught this, that he'll be a hero if he steps up and mans up, and whether it was the church or whether it was society or whatever else, man up and take over the responsibility for these children, and basically forgive all of the consequences that woman incurred on her life by doing what she did, and basically giving her a free pass and saying, don't worry about all those indiscretions. I'm here to take care of your problems. I'm here to help you out. And they get wrapped up in this. They end up, either adopting it by, you know, directly or indirectly, because I think a lot of guys get involved and they don't realize that once they marry that single mommy, whether or not they adopted those kids, they're still on the hook for the support of those kids and taking over their parental investment responsibilities of another man, i.e. being cucked or being cuckolded sort of retroactively. And they don't really understand that that's the case right now. Is we can say, well, women don't. Yeah, women don't really, you know, have sex with other guys and then try to fool the husband. I know, no, they try to normalize it. They try to normalize the idea of having some other guy, you know, having the alpha fucks kids, and then normalizing the idea of another guy coming in and taking over the responsibilities for that. That is why I say it's a war on paternity, because it goes against what those guys. So guys get into this. The sex is hot, just like Anthony was saying. They get wrapped up in it, and then they also get wrapped up into that self-righteousness, that I'm doing the right thing by stepping up and doing this, and now I'm a man because I'm taking over all of this responsibility. And they get wrapped up in that, and then, you know, 6 months later, 8 months later, maybe 2 years later, they realize that there was a reason that this woman wasn't married before. There's an actual quantifiable, you know, qualifiable reason why this thing was there. And then, so there's that aspect of it. And then I wanted to get into this too, because this is probably going to come in later on in this discussion, is a lot of guys, particularly if they find themselves single at an older age. And I think, Rich, you can probably speak to this as well, is like a lot of the women that they would be dating, if you're a 50-year-old guy, your choices of finding an undivorced, childless, never married woman at, say, 50, who's like herself 36, that's your unicorn right there, is to find a woman who's never had kids, because 90% of the women that you're going to be dealing with when you find yourself single at, say, 50 years old, you're going to be most of the shit that you're going to see on the dating apps, on OkCupid, Match.com, those women are going to be, first of all, they're going to be really full of themselves, and second of all, they're going to be, I put my kids first, so if you don't like that, then don't answer this ad kind of thing. And it's sort of this proud mother kind of thing, because we also have built women up to believe that being a single mother is like being a superhero.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like it's the
you gotta
most
do it.
virtuous thing you
do
can do as a woman.
everything.
The
So
most
you're-
difficult job in the world.
Yes.